Want to know the secret to forging and maintaining good and long-lasting relationships? Watch this video to find out how. Hello everyone, welcome to the NASTI Dynasti, where we learn about life-changing habits, skill sets, and mindsets to help us all become more nasty. Today, I'll be talking about relationships. I'll consider this topic as relatively deep, so let me just discuss it over a cup of coffee. But in this case, since it's so late at night, I don't think I want to drink coffee, so let me just have a protein shake instead. So for today's video, right, I'm not really talking about like girlfriend, boyfriend, those kind of relationships. I'm mostly talking about friends and families. You know, those kind of close relationships that some of us, we tend to take for granted. So I guess this video is mostly for us to learn about how to care about the people that actually matter in our lives, as well as how to keep them in our lives. So for now, I actually just want to cover 3 of the most important mistakes that I've seen people make. And I myself, I'm also guilty of making when it comes to relationships. The first will be treating people the way that we want to be treated.
Wait a minute.
Sounds damn weird, right? But it's actually a mistake. Instead of treating people the way that we want to be treated, right, we should treat them the way that they want to be treated. We actually tend to forget that every one of us, right, we have different ways of expressing love and care. So for example, sometimes we might feel that we put in a lot of effort into a relationship, but then to the other person, he might feel that he himself put in more effort. So there's no such thing as putting in equal amount of effort in a relationship or anything like that. So a very good way of doing this, right, is to actually understand your friends as well as your own love language. So by understanding the love language of your friends, your family, as well as yourself, you know how you can treat people better, and you also know what kind of treatment you're expecting. By understanding each other better, right, and then treating people the way that they want to be treated, you avoid the entire problem of the relationship not being fair, because one person is putting in more effort than the other person, because you're actually putting effort in different ways depending on how you express love according to your love language. So the second mistake is actually quite weird. It's actually committing to a relationship that you cannot sustain. Let's just be damn real okay? Some of us here, okay, we tend to get close to people for a certain reason. When you approach someone with an intention, right, most probably your relationship won't last because you want something from the person. And sometimes the person is not able to give you that something that you want, that something that you desire. Or even if they give you, right, they might not be able to give you for the entire period of time, you know. So because of that, when you don't get what you want, then basically the relationship is worthless in a sense. So let's say boy A has some sort of romantic interest towards girl A, and then because of that, he talks to her every single day to try to get close to her, to maybe have a possibility of starting a relationship, for example. You know, sometimes the girl doesn't really have romantic interest towards the guy because like they're kind of in the friend zone, but they don't notice it. You know, guys in general, we don't notice this kind of stuff. So even if you drop hints, right, we really don't understand.
Stop it.
So sometimes we won't perceive the relationship in the same way. So let's say that if guy A confessed to girl A, right, and then he gets rejected, right, then to guy A, he didn't really lose a very good friend in a sense, but he just lost a potential girlfriend. But for the girl, right, you know, after he talked to you like every single day, you know, he take the time to talk to you, okay, you also take the time to talk to him. You thought that maybe this guy understands you a lot. You treat him as a very, very close friend, someone that you can actually trust. But then suddenly one day, right, after he just confessed to you and then you just reject him, then he just disappears from your life. Like, it's actually a much more painful event for the girl, you know. So by actually committing to a relationship that you're not able to sustain, right, after you don't get what you want, you're actually technically hurting the other party who might not be viewing the relationship from the same point of view as you. But you know, honestly, sometimes you yourself also don't know whether you have that intention or not. So it's very, very important for us to really be conscious of what we are thinking about, whether we are trying to get to know this person because we want to have a relationship with them, or whether, like for example, they are able to provide us with something that we need, or maybe we just want to get to know the person because the person, like, we appreciate their company. So the third mistake will actually be to take people for granted. Like, these are obvious no-brainer, but we all still do it subconsciously. In life, we have a lot of different phases like primary school, secondary school, post-secondary school education. All these kind of phases, right, you know, you will meet different kinds of people, and then you will spend a lot of time with them. So sometimes, right, you will tend to forget the people that actually accompany you throughout the rest of your journey in your life, and you're just focused, you know, just present in the moment itself. Wow, this shit tastes like medicine when it's warm. We only have so little time. You really have to choose the people that you actually value in your life and people that can actually add value for you, because that's just the way things are okay? You wouldn't want toxic people in your life, of course. I'm sure many of you had your fair share of toxic relationships, you know what I mean. So I guess one way to go about this, right, is to actually remember the people that have been with you throughout your entire journey and take time out of your schedule to go and meet up with them. And if somebody in the group proposes a meetup, at least show up You know, there's this entire concept of I got no time, you know, I'm very busy and stuff. But there's a quote that I picked up recently, and it's that time is man-made. Basically, it means that time is own self-made one lah. By saying that you don't have time, right, you're basically saying that, you know, you're not that important for me to want to make time for you. I have time to eat lunch with my friends, eat supper, and then go party, go and study, all this kind of stuff. But then, if I'm not even able to make time for you to have like even a meal with you or even call you over the phone, right, then it clearly shows where you lie on my priorities list. So when the person is giving you his time, right, okay, he's trying to make an effort to meet you because he values you as a friend. Then you also have to, in a sense, value him back as a friend lah, if you appreciate, if you treasure the relationship in a sense. So I'm not saying that you need to go and meet up, go out with that guy for like an entire day or some shit. But basically, even the small effort of saying, hey bro, actually I'm not free these few days. Is it okay if we meet on like 18 May or some shit instead? The fact that you actually took the effort, right, to arrange a date, right, shows that you have the intention to want to meet this guy already. It's really a lot different compared to when you say,
hey, no time lah bro, no time, going to study bro.
So basically for the third point, right, just remember your priorities, okay? Set aside some time for your friends. It doesn't matter how long it is, but basically just have the intention to want to spend time with them. And I'm sure that if you explain to them your circumstances, right, they'll definitely understand. So after learning from so many mistakes that I made in the past when it comes to relationships, I committed myself to forming as well as preserving genuine relationships with people that I actually care about. So I thought, you know, maybe I can ask these people about their opinions about how to build long-lasting relationships as well as how to preserve them. I thought until like relationship like some kind of food like that, preserve.
How long I knew you for? That'll be primary 3, right? So that'll be 2009, so 12 years. We enjoy each other's company and we enjoy talking to one another, talking shit about one another. We enjoy going to each other's houses, going out, having lunch, dinner, playing cards, playing Minecraft.
So we were in the same CCA in JC. Knew each other for, it's been 4 years, 4.5. Yeah, since 2017. Susan was my captain and I was his vice captain. We had a very good working dynamics. That's why we are close friends now.
Priorities when trying to balance what's important and what's not important within the relationship. For example, prioritizing time between, let's say, your girlfriend and your guy friends. Another example could be prioritizing certain values over other values. I prioritize the values that I treasure. And if I encounter a friend who was once a nice guy and is now someone who is, for a better term of phrase, douchebag, your values differ. And because of that, the friendship will also differ. Because it depends on how strongly you value these values, right? For me, I value them extremely strongly. For example, being polite to people, taking care of other people's feelings, not disrespecting like females, you know, stuff like that. But there's some people who just outright just flat out breaks all the values. They don't enrich my life, and our priorities differ lah. My closest friends are people who embody most of the values that I hold dear to my heart.
Drifting apart is very normal lah, like it will happen confirm. I don't think people purposely like lose touch with old friends. You know, it just happens. Like, okay, from primary school you go to secondary school, you will meet secondary school friends. You spend like 90% of your time in school, correct?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
When you move on to a different phase of life, you hang out with people from that phase of life. Obviously, everybody only has 24 hours a day. There's no way you can maintain that same closeness you had with the previous group of friends. But it doesn't mean that y'all can no longer be friends, that y'all should drift apart forever. Like, meeting frequently to stay close, I think it really depends on your relationship dynamics lah. Even the both of us with Minhan and Hui Ting, I think if we don't meet for like half a year, I don't think we'll drift apart. We'll still be close. Drifting apart doesn't mean that you cannot come back together again. As long as there's like the mutual effort to like stay in touch, you can always afford to drift apart. If y'all cherish each other as friends, y'all will always come back together eventually.
The acceptance of change. Time moves on, people change. It's very normal to be in the moment and, want to be with someone because of who they are at that point of time. We sometimes make the mistake of ignoring who this person can be. Because of that, people go through heartbreak. And this need not be just talking about boy-girl relationships. This can also apply to, regular friendships. This person I admire, this person I love, this person who I'm always with may not stay the same person in the future. This person may change, and not for the better, may change for the worse as well. Change is something that will happen, whether we like it or not. In fact, we might change, and it's up to the other party, our friend, our girlfriend, our parents or whatever, to accept that we're changing, even in the ideal scenario, that maybe your motives are aligned, your priorities are aligned, your perspectives are aligned, and you both compromise. That may not be true for the future. That's why you have to accept that change happens.
Being close with a friend of the opposite gender, I think if you have a very close opposite sex friend that you can talk to, right, then it will always give you a new perspective, right? Correct? Like if your group of friends only belong to one gender, then you all will only think along the same way. You know what I mean? If you talk to me about problems, I will rationalize with you, correct? But guys just, hey bro, never mind. Tomorrow no more already, forget already.
Fake one, no more already. Oh, okay, no more.
Yeah, no more.
To sum this entire relationship video up, don't forget the people that you treasure, and if you really want to keep them for life, right, make sure that you put in the effort to do it. A relationship, right, regardless of whatever, I don't know what's that word, genre, whatever genre it is, right, we need all parties to work together. If not, the relationship will not work out one. Yeah, so that's about it. I've actually just finished my protein shake, okay, getting ready to go to bed. And then actually, when it comes to all this kind of relationship stuff, right, I'm quite interested in it, you know. I'm not really say the
relationship guru or something like that, but
I'm very interested in it. So I'm actually quite willing to share about my whole theory about relationships and stuff, as well as some Confucius quotes or some shit I don't know. So if you guys are interested in hearing me blabber all this kind of relationship stuff, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, because this is actually like an experiment, you know, like the whole night sky thing, you know, protein shake and stuff, you know, it's very different from my usual videos. So with that, I hope that you learned a thing or two from this video, and I'll see you next Monday. Always remember, stay nasty.